Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Health Made Easy. I'm your host, Dr. Jason Jones, and I'm super excited for this series that we're going to do this month, which is really about tackling mental emotional stress and what you can do practically to help yourself in this particular area. Now, I'm going to give a quick disclaimer for all of these podcasts. I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a counselor, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a medical doctor, but I am a person who has gone through quite a few stressful, challenging situations, and I know I will continue to do so. And I have spent a lot of time focusing on mindset, on overcoming challenges, how to put together strategies that are very simple and relatively easy to implement to combat the mental emotional stressors of life. And this week, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the battle between the fight or flight and the rest and digest side of the nervous system, because essentially that's where you live. You either live in fight or flight, or what I call threat, or you live in rest and digest, or what I would call ease. Because in the face of stress and anxiety, it's imperative to understand the difference between the two of these for your health to be optimal. Because our nervous system has two modes of operation, namely the sympathetic nervous system, which is also known as the fight or flight mechanism, and then you have the parasympathetic nervous system, which is known as the rest and digest side. These modes, they play opposite roles depending on what state you are in, but they play off of one another, and we need or want a balance in there. Now, it's okay to be in the fight or flight. We just don't want to live there all the time, because the sympathetic nervous system is responsible for voluntary controls such as heart rate, digestion, urination, blood pressure, and sweating. And it's part of the autonomic, or what we call the automatic part of the nervous system, or the part of the nervous system where you don't have to really think about what it is that is going on in your body. It just does it automatically. And that sympathetic nervous system houses the fight or flight mechanism that helps us respond to stressful situations and dangerous situations. Like, for example, back in the day, how to get away from a saber-toothed tiger. But most of us are not hunting our food down anymore. We're not having to run an animal down. We're not having to fight for our next meal. So we don't necessarily need to live in this stress state, even though it's still very important. So what's the purpose of the sympathetic nervous system, or the fight or flight side? So when you're facing danger or a stressful situation, the sympathetic nervous system is activated to ensure control over the fight or flight response. And again, it is just a response. So this mode is responsible for the following body changes when facing danger or stress that I'm going to cover for you. 1, enlargement of the pupils to enhance vision by allowing more light into the eyes, increasing the heart rate to ensure there's adequate oxygen supply to the body parts so that they can actually work and you can escape or run or chase something or do whatever you need to do. Relaxation of the airway muscles in the lungs for optimal oxygen delivery. Reducing the pace of digestion, basically pulling all of the energy out of digestion so you can concentrate the energy into the other body parts. But also activating the liver's energy reserves for quick energy, because you have a lot of glucose or sugar stored in the liver. Now, these changes help in circumstances where fast action or thought is required. So it doesn't have to be physical. It can be very much like deep mental thought, and it can or critical thinking, very fast-paced thinking. This needs this, and the sympathetic nervous system helps in improving eyesight, strength, endurance, reflexes. This system communicates through neurotransmitters, which are like little communication molecules like epinephrine, norepinephrine, or adrenaline, noradrenaline, and what's called acetylcholine. Now, the parasympathetic nervous system, or the rest and digest side, or the rest and digest response side, helps relax the body after danger or after a stressful situation. So it's part of the autonomic nervous system. It's responsible for controlling relaxation, and it regulates functions such as metabolism, resting heart rate, and your breathing rate. So, for example, if you come out of a stressful situation and you feel that kind of power down, calm down situation, this is what you want to actually see happening, and that's totally normal. Just like you want the parasympathetic nervous system to start to to come into play late on at night as it gets you ready to go to bed. So the role of this side of the nervous system is really responsible for things like constricting the pupils to limit the amount of light entering the eyes, enhances close-up vision, but it also triggers tear production when needed. It triggers saliva and mucus production to aid in breathing and digestion when the body is in rest mode, reducing the workload for the lungs by constricting the airway muscles during rest, reducing heart rate, enhancing digestion rate, diverting energy from other parts of the body to the digestive tract, commanding the pancreas to increase the production and supply of insulin, relaxing muscles to facilitate waste removal, controlling sexual functions and arousal feelings as well. So when we look at the difference between the fight or flight versus the rest and digest, the contrast between the two sides of the nervous system essentially include the following. While you're in fight or flight, you have increased alertness, but while you're in the rest and digest, those mechanisms, they relax the body. The rest and digest side regulates body activities when you're calm and feeling safe, while the sympathetic nervous system triggers the body to react when its calmness or safety is actually being threatened. The sympathetic nervous system, or the fight or flight, contains signals that enhance alertness, while the parasympathetic nervous system returns the body to its standard activity level. Right? The sympathetic nervous system acts in terms of a fight or flight or flee or get out of here, get out of this situation, whereas the parasympathetic nervous system comes in later to help the body cool down, relax, rest, and digest. The two modes of this autonomic nervous system play opposite but complementary roles to maintain body balance. So the reason these are so important is you need them both, okay? But primarily you're going to spend you need to and want to spend most of your life in the rest and digest mode, because the rest and digest mode is like the brake pedals for the body, whereas the fight or flight side is like the gas. So if you're just on the gas all the time, you're going to burn out, and you're going to burn out all of your stress hormones, adrenal hormones, fry all your systems, all that type of stuff. You need rest and digest, and you need more rest and digest than you need fight or flight. So I hope this helped you out. This is kind of a setup for the things and the strategies that we're going to be having come into play over these next few weeks. Definitely tune into those. You probably want to listen to this one a couple more times. Don't worry about all the technical terms, but we'll see you on the next podcast. Bye-bye.